So as our title slide says, we're in hunting for large, high-grade gold deposits in Côte d'Ivoire. There's a customary disclaimer, and I'll just run through the highlights. We're in what's called the Borimian Greenstone Belt that reaches all the way from Senegal to Niger, and it hosts over 70 plus 1 million ounce deposits. 40 of them are over 3 million ounces. The total endowment is about 400 million ounces, so a very good place to be exploring. Our flagship Napier project, I'll be talking mostly about that. We believe it has a capability to host several million ounces. And we've got our Tier 1 exploration team. We mentioned Orbis. We made 3 discoveries with Orbis, including the Boungou mine. And since creating Mako in 2018, we've made 2 discoveries. We're fully funded to our all the way through to our maiden resource to come out later this year. And I'll also be talking about our new permits where we've already begun exploration work on that. So I'll talk a bit about the team at first because that's pretty important. So 4 of those people are ex-Orbis. So our chairman, ex-Orbis director, he's the one that, he's a corporate lawyer. He's the one that just negotiated the deal for the Cardinal takeover. A good guy to have in our corner if we have a takeover down the road. We recently brought on Steve Zaninovich, who was with Griffin Mining, and went to work for Teranga when they took him over, and Endeavour took them over, but he did the feasibility on that study, on that project. So, and then the other 4, other than our company secretary, all ex-Orbis. I got to give credit to our African guys, our senior guys. They've been with us for 10 years, which is how we can be operating seamlessly through these COVID times. So corporate structure, 26 mil capital. Market cap, and about 7.7 in the bank and receivables. And $1 million of that receivables is we've sold our discovery in Burkina Faso to Norgold, and we're waiting for the minister's signature to get that. So we're very well funded for the next phases of exploration. So Côte d'Ivoire is basically the destination of choice in West Africa. It's got excellent infrastructure, a very pro-mining government. Their mining code came out in 2014, and so very easy place to operate. You can see the largest city, Abidjan, a very modern city. And you know, when we talk about the infrastructure, I'll show you our permits here. Before I talk about the structure of those permits, you can see on our flagship Napier project, there's a little squiggly line that runs through it. That's a bitumen road. On that bitumen road, there's a high-tension hydroelectric line. And for added measure, we have a river on the east side. So just add gold, and away we go. While we're on that slide, I'll point out our 2 new projects, which is the Kohogo project. And you can see that fault that runs all the way up to the Endeavour's 2.7 million ounce Wagner mine. And that's why we selected those. It's a very prolific belt, and I'll talk about those in a little bit more detail. So our flagship project is the Napier project. We have that through a farm-in or earn-in JV with Perseus Mining, who has 2 operating mines in country, the Sisenge mine and the Yaouré mine that they just put into production. And we negotiated that deal with them in 2017, and we currently have 51% of that, and are earning up to 75% by going to feasibility. Our new projects, 100% Mako owned, and I'll talk about them in more detail in a bit later on. So this is the flagship Napier project, large project, 224 square kilometers, 30 kilometers north-south. It's got 5 prospects within it. We've drilled 4 of them, and all 4 have gold. I'll only be talking about the Chaga prospect and the Gogbala prospect. And I'll draw your attention to the black line that runs through the entire project. And that's a shear 30 kilometers long, and it carries on outside the permit. And coincident with that, you see the orange and the green. That's a 23-kilometer coincident soil auger anomaly. So that's what we're using to target. We're also using IP chargeability. So now I'll show you a blow-up of the Chaga prospect. That's the one that we're taking to maiden resource. Overall, for the entire permit, we're targeting 3-4 million ounces. Just within, we've outlined mineralization through drilling over 1.6 kilometers. That map is 1 kilometer of that, and we think that we will end up with about 1 million ounces on there. Each of those ellipses you see are those stacked lodes that we keep getting along those D2 cross-cutting structures. And we believe that each one of those solid ellipses hosts 150 to 200,000 ounces of gold. So our strategy is pretty simple. Extend them to the southwest, where those red arrows are, and find more of them to the north and to the south. And that's what we're currently doing. I'll draw your attention to, the great results we've been getting, not just recently, but, 41 meters at 4.5 grams per ton. I'm not going to read them all. You can read them, but we've got those, really outstanding high grade and widths right from shortly after listing in 2018. So I'll show you a blow up of that map and with those ellipses. So I'll just draw your attention to the A-B section in load 1. And then after that, I'll show you a cross section of that, and then I'll show you a long section that shows all those loads. Now you'll notice that load 4 is a little light, but it doesn't have that much drilling, and we're working on it and trying to prove that up as well. So that's a cross section here, and the pink envelope is a 0.1 gram cutoff. So that's basically where we have an alteration halo, mostly potassium. So it shows up, we call it the Napier pink. So within, you can see like our drill holes are pretty well, that whole envelope is mineralized. And within that, we have a high grade core. And that's what we're chasing. But from a potential mining scenario, it's not too hard to conceptualize a pit, taking all of that into it, with a pretty low strip ratio. I'll draw your attention to our latest result, and that's the diamond tail in the very western hole, 13 meters at, I can't remember what it is now, but I don't have my glasses on, and consistently we've been getting those nice wide and high grades, but typical of orogenic Birimian deposits, it pinches and swells, and we expect to get some variation. But overall, we're expecting to get a deposit that's hopefully going to be about 1.5 grams per ton. So now I'll show you a picture of that core within that 13-meter interval. I was talking about the potassic alteration. You can see it at the very top of the core, that pinkish area where we're getting about 2.3. And then when we get the quartz veins, that's when we get the super high grade, about 50 grams or more per ton. So what we're dealing with here is a stockwork of veins and stringers. So it's, it's going to, all change over area, but overall, that's why we're confident in our continuity of our deposit. Now you can see that long section that takes in all those loads. The lighter shaded area is a 0.2 gram cutoff, and then the more opaque gold stuff is a 0.5 gram cutoff. So you can see, one of the really exciting things about it is that you can see those 4 loads there with the high grade in it, and between that you have some low grade within, and within that you get a little bit of high grade. From a potential mining perspective, it's not too hard to conceptualize a pit where you take all that, and then you take, you have the low grade, you send it to the low grade stockpile, and then the high grade obviously goes to the high grade stockpile. So, fairly easy potentially mining. And we're looking for more loads to the left and to the right, north and south. So we've already done our preliminary metallurgy, and both oxide and fresh rock came back averaging over 94%. You can see why. The gold is associated with pyrite, but it's not locked within the pyrite, which would make it refractory. The pyrite's also a handy tool. I mentioned we do IP geophysics, so we target the pyrite through chargeability, and then we find the gold. So we need 3 things to get the high grade. We need the potassic alteration halo that tells us we're in a generally right area. You can see the red potassium in the quartz there. And then we need quartz and pyrite. And every night, even though we're not there, we get the sections from our geos, hand-drawn sections, and we know how much percent pyrite is there and how much percent quartz is there. So we know if we're in the right area. So we can be quite reactive. On Chaga, we've actually hit about 60% of our holes have intervals over 5 gram meters or better. So, pretty good success rate. So now I'll show you 4 kilometers to the south, and we have the Gogbala prospect. We just finished a 5,700 meter drill program, RC drill program on that. We're waiting for results on the northern part, so we put 14 fences of holes on there. The idea of that is, I got to stress, that's 5 kilometers long, that area. So if we think we can come up with 1 million ounces on Chaga, we're hoping to get at least 1 million out of Gogbala or more. So those 14 fences, we're hoping 1 or 2 have good results. And you can see one area, that's got 15 meters at 5.3 grams, 1 meter just under 9 grams, 6 meters at 2.7. So we're going to go to those areas, put fences on either side, triangulate the mineralization, and then keep stepping out. So that's our strategy there, and then just keep doing that for the whole 30-kilometer strike length of the permit. Now I'll talk about our new permits in a bit more detail. Those 2 permits, the very northern one was just granted in February, and much like our namesake, the Mako Shark, we move fast, and we've already finished our soil sampling program and are about to do starting tomorrow actually, a HeliMag program. So the reason we got those, greenstone granite contact along a major fault that's shown in gray. You'll recall on the map of Côte d'Ivoire, I showed you at the north end of that is where Endeavour's got their 2.7 million ounce Wagnian mine. So very good place to be. Here it is on the regional mag. As I said, the helicopter's starting to fly tomorrow. And, we expect to have the results of that, within a month. We'll have the soil sample results hopefully within a month. And we're planning a 30-hole drill program, hopefully before the wet season. So no previous work done on the permit. So we're pretty excited about that. We're within 15 to 30 kilometers of Barrick's 5 million ounce Tongan mine, which is going to run out of feed in about a year. So the potential for toll milling is pretty attractive there. So we also take our ESG quite seriously. We've got very good relationship with the community. With our drilling company, Geodrill, we recently drilled a water bore in partnership for the community. You can see the big smiles on everybody's faces on the inauguration of that. When we have our bulldozers there, doing the drill pads, we ask the community if they need some roads fixed up so they can get to market easily. And of course, we hire the locals from the villages to work with us as well. So we've got very good relationships, because if you don't have that relationship, you can have the best geology in the world, and it's not going to work for you. This is a slide that annoys me a little bit when I show it. We compare ourselves to the explorers in black. Why is our EV so low? We've got good metallurgy, good results, etc. A lot of those other explorers already have the Canadian funds that have invested. And just to let you know, we are talking seriously to a few Canadian funds, so we hope to rectify that problem in a not too distant future and get a bit of a re-rating from that. So to sum up, we've got a team that have done it before. We're getting, stellar results. We're fully funded, so we've done it before, and we're hoping to do it again. Thank you.
Thank you very much.